Okay everyone, this is a 2005 Cadillac Deville DHS in silk green. Today we're going to be pulling the dash pad out and replacing the lens on the instrument cluster because it's cracked. Okay, we're inside. I want to show you guys this cracked lens on the instrument panel. I've never seen it on another one before, but it's split right down here. And so I got another instrument panel from eBay. I don't want the instrument panel or the cluster, I just want the lens. So I'm going to take the lens off that one, put this cracked lens on that other instrument cluster, and sell it back on eBay for somebody that wants a, working instrument cluster but already has a lens that's not cracked. So in every video and all the reading I've done about how to go about this dash removal and instrument cluster removal, the sticking point has been the removal of these louvered vents in these models Cadillacs, which I think run from 2001 through at least 2005. And the guidance is to get screwdrivers and to put them into these places and find tabs and press the tabs and pull out. Doesn't work. So frustrating. And but I have found the way to do it. So I'm going to show, as a part of this, I think the most important part really is going to be showing how to do that. And I'll take some good still pictures of the vents once they're out, and the spots into which they go, so that anybody else attempting this can do it easily and without trouble. All right. Okay, so I've got one of these out, and I will post right after this some still images so that anybody attempting this can sort of see what it looks like and understand that going in here, this is the tab that the instructions that people have talked about you want to depress. There's no way to depress it by reaching a screwdriver in there and pressing. You can't probably tell from these images, but the bottom of that is completely flush. There's no way to depress this raised piece from going inside here. And there's one at the top and the bottom. It's ridiculous. You'll also see there are these other little sort of raised parts here. Those go into these tracks, which you can see right there. And they're up there also. But basically, it's a press and fit. So that's the good news. You can essentially take a pair of needle nose pliers, and I'm not going to do it with this because I'm going to put cloth around it to protect the plastic. Grabbing at the center louver near the center, where that force of pulling out is going to be distributed along the entire length of the louver instead of concentrated on one side where the pin can bear a lot of that stress and maybe something can break. You can just pull this out and it works like a charm. So what I'm going to do is put just a rag over this so I don't mar the plastic. I'm going to put this in there, right? Get a hold of it. Squeeze it, not too tightly because I don't want to damage anything, and just pull straight back. There you go. Comes out just like a charm. And you can do that for all four, and you'll be good. Then you're on your way to your access bolts, which hold down this dash pad access bolts. The bolts which hold down the dash pad, you can pull that out, pull these off the pillar, and it's an easy job. Okay, I'm going to do this again just to show you, maybe from a different angle on a different vent, just how it works. So I've got my needle nose pliers, put those right in there, hold it gently and not, firmly, but not there. Comes right out. Beautiful. Okay, so we've gotten the vents out, and up in the vents there are these little square holes up in the vent openings, and you can just barely see one of the screws. There we go, that's a better image of the screw that we've got to remove to get the dash pad. That will release the dash pad. By the way, these bolts that are up in these holes, holding the dash up in those little square holes, holding the dash pad down. Here's one here. They're 9/32. And for what it's worth, it's sometimes in some of these places difficult to get up there with a tool. So I loosened it, and then I used a magnetic probe to go up there and just take the bolt out, so I didn't drop it. Okay, so after you go into each of these louvered vent openings, you find the square opening, you access the 9/32 machine screw, unscrew that, set those aside. You do that for every louvered opening. There's one 9/32 screw in each one, so you'll have 4 when you're done. Then you've got to remove this A-pillar trim, and then we're going to remove the dash defroster panel here, because there are screws that hold this dash pad down underneath that trim panel. So to remove this is pretty easy. You can just grab it and pull it out, or you can use a trim tool like this to kind of, it's got little clips that just press it in place, and you can grab that, pull it, right? You've got to finagle it a little bit here to get it out. You don't want to damage anything, just be careful, use some care, but it will come out. There we go. Now, I don't know if all of the DHSs or all the Cadillacs of this year have that, but you'll see there's a tweeter speaker here, and so there's wiring that needs to be disconnected, and there's a connector right down there, clip. Okay, so I've been able to pry this up using great care because it's hard plastic, it's brittle. I believe it could be brittle, I don't want to break it. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tabs, stiff. You've got to really be gentle, use a lot of even, steady pressure to get those up. And then there's a light sensor here in the center, right in front of the speaker grill, that has to come out. I spent a lot of time fiddling with the connector there, trying to disconnect the connector, separate it from male and female parts to take that, and then no success. What I figured out is that this actually rotates. It spins with pins into that position. So what you want to do is get in here and firmly, carefully but firmly, rotate it counterclockwise, and it will come out. And you can see the slots, how it goes in there and turns. Okay. Okay, this car will keep you guessing. Got the defroster grill out, took the light sensor out of that spins out, and now we've got to remove 1, 2, and there's one down in here, 3 bolts. Those are the remaining bolts that hold the dash pad on. Now, the reason I said this car will keep you guessing, the bolts in the louver holes, the vent holes, are 9/32. These bolts up here are 10 millimeter. So, you've got to have a robust socket set for this to work. Okay, I've got the dash pad out. Now, I'm going to be removing the instrument cluster. I've got to remove this piece of trim. There are some 9/32 bolts, 2, one there and one there, that hold this side in, a couple of electric connectors for the switches, and then we'll be on to the instrument panel. Well, this is the end of this video because I can't go any farther. I'm not going to be able to replace that lens, that cracked lens on my instrument panel. And the reason is, the instrument cluster that I bought on eBay, strictly so that I could scavenge the lens from it, even though it fits this car. It's the wrong lens for this display. The instrument cluster came from a DTS. This is a DHS. There's something going on with a digital versus analog gauge. There's a projector. And the fittings, the clips, aren't the same exactly. The center clip on the DTS is a screw. Here it's this clip, so I can't use it. So I'll be selling that on eBay and looking for the correct lens. But in the meantime, I'll post this because I'm hoping that some of the things that I learned and showed you on this video are going to be useful to other folks who need to get into the dash and the instrument panel on their Cadillac Devilles. Thanks an awful lot.